Trying to market your small business? Here are the 4 places I would start marketing your business today. 5 years ago, I took over the marketing for a small gym in Colorado. And when I took over, their marketing wasn't super cohesive, and we didn't have a ton of online marketing presence. We had a website, and that was about it. So when I first took over, I dedicated the first several weeks to making our brand very online present. Here's the 4 places that I started and that I would recommend you start if you're trying to market your small business today online. Number 1 is a website. When I had taken over the marketing for the gyms, we had done a big rebrand from the big box. And so we had a new website, but it wasn't done by a professional website designer. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was revamp that, make it more brand centric, and really start to create an image. Now, the website that we had looked like something that maybe you could have pulled out of the 90s internet boom or the early 2000s. We didn't hire a professional website designer. It was something that we built in-house. Now, when I took it over, I didn't have a ton of website experience either. I spent most of my time those first initial weeks putting the website together, learning how to build a large-scale website. So a couple of things that I was really focused on was trying to make it more brand-centric, create something that was more cohesive for the 2 locations that we had and was super easy to navigate for the members and prospects that we were gaining in the community. A lot of people are going to tell you that social media should be the way that you should go first. And I'm not going to lie, it is a very good option. But my thought process is that your audience on social media should have somewhere to go. And by establishing some kind of website or even a landing page, it can be super simple, especially because now with today's content and social media game, you can post one video and it could go viral, and that traffic, if you don't have a website, is essentially wasted. So having some kind of website or something as simple as a landing page can go a long way, because if your first initial videos do really well or your first couple of posts do perform very well, then you're going to have that traffic immediately go to your landing page or your website, and that can result in some very early success with your online business. Now, in terms of creating your website, you don't have to go fancy. You don't have to go hire a website designer. We certainly didn't, and I still haven't. You can look at sites like GoDaddy, where you can get domains and build one-page or simple websites. You can even build website landing pages in Canva. So if you're looking for like a one-page website, maybe a couple of buy links that somebody can buy something through Shopify or Stripe, Canva is a good option. Shopify is another good option if you're just looking at like a landing page. Just do something very simple and give your audience somewhere to go to try and convert them into a sale. In that first rendition of your website, it's more important to get something out there than to try and build the perfect site. Speaking from experience, you're going to change your site about 1,000 times. It's an ongoing process. So as long as you can get something out there that you're at least proud of and that will get the job done, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's presenting a solid image for you and your brand, and it's doing its job, right? It's acting as an online salesperson. That's all that's going to matter. If you're struggling trying to find some inspiration, look around at a couple of the companies within your niche or in your industry and just look at what their websites look like. Look at what kind of pages they have, what their landing pages look like, what kind of copy they have, and take some inspiration from that. Now, don't copy. Just use them as inspiration. Number 2 is social media. My experience with social media was fairly limited until I got this marketing role. When I took this over, I had started creating some content for the gyms before I got the actual position, and that was about the extent of my experience with it. When I initially took it over, each gym had their own profile, both on Instagram and Facebook, and that was it. It didn't look like the 2 gyms were even remotely related, and they're only about 10 miles apart. They weren't very brand cohesive. So a lot of what I did in those initial days was just clean everything up. Optimize the profile, add links to the bios, make the bio very user-friendly and easy to understand, clean up the profile images, and I actually created some brand profiles too for the entirety of the brand, since we were trying to create something brand new here. I took those brand profiles and pushed them across more platforms, right? We had started on Facebook and Instagram, and I expanded those beyond those platforms onto YouTube, onto TikTok, onto Pinterest, onto LinkedIn. So there's a lot of options in terms of what platforms you can use. and what is going to work for your business. There's three things about social media that you want to be very cognizant of when you start it for your business. One is the platforms. There's probably 7 or 8 prominent platforms at the moment: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Snapchat, Twitter, Threads. I'm sure I'm forgetting another one, LinkedIn. Yeah, so nine platforms. And there may be others that your audience might be on that you want to try out. When you first start out, pick 1 or 2, because trying to learn all 9 of them at once is impossible and it's never going to work. But it's all going to depend on your audience, right? Where is your audience at? Where are they spending the most time? Where is their attention? Because those are the platforms that you want to roll with when you initially start. Another important factor of social media and content for your business is to make them brand cohesive. If you're using multiple platforms, even if you're only using 2 platforms, make the profiles very brand cohesive. You want to make them look pretty similar. That way, if somebody sees you on Facebook and they see you on Instagram, they're going to know it's you. You want the profile images to be the same on every platform. You want the bios to be fairly similar. You want the links in bio maybe to be somewhat similar depending on what you're trying to sell on each platform. But the most important part is to be consistent with it. People are going to be much more receptive to your content and to you as a brand if they see that you're consistently posting, if you're consistently giving value, if you're consistently in their feed. They're going to understand that, okay, this person or this brand is very attentive. They care. They are going to be here to where I can come back every day and see something new from them. I'm going to get to learn something new every single day. When you first start posting, it's going to be terrible. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Don't be afraid to just test a few things and just see how it works. Because there could be something that you test and put out there that does really well. And there could be something that you test and put out there that doesn't do anything. It might get 0 engagement, like a handful of views, and that's it. But you don't know which end of the spectrum you're going to be on unless you post it. So that's a big part of it, is to be consistent and be okay with posting bad stuff in the name of testing. And one of the final things that I'll give you on social media is that you want to create systems around it. You need to have templates or systems for creating content and editing and scheduling, ways that you can make all of those steps easier. Because if you don't make those steps easier, it's just going to take you forever to begin with, and it's not going to get any easier down the road. Yes, it's going to be difficult when you're first learning how to create content, how to make videos, how to edit videos, what platforms to use. All of those things are part of your creator journey. And if you're not creating systems around the stuff that actually works, and maybe SOPs, standard operating procedures, around the stuff that works for you, then it's just going to continue to be hard. It's not going to get easier. You're not going to be able to scale it. So if you do have some success, you're not going to be able to scale that success at all. We want it to be as easy and as functional within our own business as possible. We want something that we can add into our system and make that system work better. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break. Before we get into number 3, most small businesses spend way too much time trying to figure out their marketing. Posting randomly, boosting ads with no strategy, and honestly just hoping something sticks. Does that sound familiar? Here's the truth. Marketing isn't about just being online. It's about having the right plan in place. And that's exactly what I help small businesses with. As a fractional CMO, I provide expert strategy, platform audits, and systems to help you scale and get more customers, all without the confusion. If you want to learn more about it or see how it works, click the link in the caption below or visit dybmedia.org to get started today. The third place I'd focus your marketing is on email marketing. Now, there's a lot of people that are wondering if email marketing actually works or if it's beneficial, and it's all about the content. Just like on social media, you want to have good content in your email to one, make people want to give you their email, and 2, to actually keep them engaged. Now, a lot of people consider social media to be a borrowed audience, and we saw this a few years ago when Instagram had a major downturn. Now, it wasn't necessarily a downturn, but it was a day that Instagram didn't work. And if your business relied on Instagram only to bring in customers, to make sales, you probably saw a big fat 0 on that day. The way to get around that is to turn your borrowed social media audience into an owned email audience. This is something I'm actively working on in my businesses, and something that I would definitely recommend for all of my clients is to try and convert a portion of your social media audience into an owned audience on email. Try and get a percentage of them. It doesn't have to be high, maybe 10, 15, 20% of your social media audience into your email audience. When you take those people from social media and put them into your email, they go from an audience member to maybe a fan, to where they want to consume a little bit more. Maybe they want to understand what kind of products or services that you offer to see if you can help them a little bit more. And once you have this kind of strategy in place, what I recommend is don't sell really anything on your social media. I would instead turn your social media into a grab for your email. So instead of saying, hey, check out this product on my website, say, hey, here's a freebie, check out my email newsletter. Or grab this freebie, just give me your email, I'll send it to you for free, and then they're in your email from there. Put a CTA in your caption, post stuff on your story about it. And then if you're doing something like a product launch, then you can start to sell. But if you're selling every single day on social, your audience is going to see that you're just trying to sell them shit. Once you've got their email, they've basically given you the green light of, yeah, I want more content, but you're good to sell to me as well. And then having a good email strategy of trying to still provide them value. Number 4 is actually SEO and Google listings. While SEO isn't like a hot topic, in 2025, people still understand that you can learn or solve just about anything from a few simple online searches. That includes finding a solution that your business might actually be able to solve for their problem. There's still about 6 million search inquiries just on Google every single minute, and that's as of the beginning of 2025. What's even more impressive than that is that the results that show up at the top of an inquiry, the top maybe 2 to 3 searches, those tend to have an estimated 22.4% through rate, meaning that nearly a quarter of all searches don't even go beyond their first scroll of the initial results. And this is just a perfect example of why it's important to A, have a listing to search on Google and other search engines like Bing, and B, optimize it for your keywords, your industry, and your services. Now, SEO, or search engine optimization, is the art of using keywords to optimize your link searchability, essentially. The more ways we can get searched, the more we are going to show up near the top of somebody's search. Having as many keywords as possible on every online platform is a great way to show up in those searches, because you're giving the algorithm more opportunity to connect you to that person's search. Now, in my opinion, a Google listing is a must for a small business. It's a place where you can showcase where you're at, your contact information, your website, your social media tags, and honestly house all of your reviews. And so many people buy or just visit businesses based on their reviews alone that it's such an important part of how you run your marketing and how you run your brand. You can really see your Google listing as almost another social platform. You're able to make posts, put promotions up, and really stay connected with your community through your Google listing, so that when somebody goes to look at your listing, they're obviously going to see all the stuff that I mentioned before. Pay attention to your reviews. They're going to be a huge part of your business, especially if you're a small business or a mom and pop shop, or even just something that sells locally and maybe you don't sell online, but your product or service is local. Having good reviews is going to be a big part of your business, because more and more people will come to your business just based on the review itself. Now, I always recommend, and I have it set up for all of my businesses, is that anytime you receive a review, you get a notification to where you can immediately respond. In the past, I had reviews set up to automatically be responded to using a Zapier automation. But Google came out recently in 2024, I believe it was, and said if the responses to the reviews are always the same or don't happen, they rate you a little bit negatively on that. You don't get as positive of a push if your responses are always really generic, if they're always the same, if you're just copy and pasting and maybe just changing the name. They don't like that very much. Okay? You're not going to get 1,000 of them every single day, so it shouldn't take up a ton of time. If you do start to get a lot of reviews, that's fantastic, and it's going to help your business. Okay, so there are the 4 things. Let's recap really quick. Number 1 is a good website, or at least a landing page. Now, if you're just starting out, just start out with a one-page website, essentially a one long landing page for your entire business, and then just roll from there. You're going to change it 1,000 times, so just get something out there. Number 2 is social media. Now, with social media, remember there's lots of platforms. Just pick a couple to start and get going. Make them very brand cohesive, and make sure that you're posting content that's valuable for your target audience. Number 3 is email marketing. Again, your social media audience is a borrowed audience. If a platform goes down or it experiences some tech issues for a day, you essentially don't have an audience for a day. But if you transfer those people into your email, you should be just fine. Continue to create valuable content and always include a CTA at the bottom or somewhere in the middle, but always provide value. And finally, number 4 is a Google listing and SEO optimization. Make sure that you're showing up in Google searches and that you're taking care of the reviews that you get, whether positive or negative. Now, it sounds like a lot, or at least a decent amount of work. But when you're first starting out, it's necessary in order to get your business out there. And the best part about a lot of these platforms is that they're either very low cost or they're free. If you've never done any of these, one final tip that I would give you is just go with one thing at a time. You don't have to create a website and do social media and do email and do SEO and Google listing. Do one thing at a time. Take it a day at a time. Don't try and do it all in one day. Don't try and do it all in 1 week. You could probably set all the systems up in a month, and then you're going to go back and refine them as you learn more. That's what I've done over the last 5 years. It's an ongoing process. You'll continue to learn. You'll continue to improve. But the most important part is to just get it out there. You have time. While having all of these up and running as soon as possible is a must, don't stress about trying to have it all up by tomorrow. One step at a time, and then improve from there. If you gain anything from this video, please consider hitting this subscribe button down here in the corner. And you can also check out the audio version for On the Go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks again for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.